In this video, I'm going to tell you 5 ways you can make yourself more attractive to others. So stay tuned if you would like to know how. Hey everyone, my name is Sunsu from the Mind Council and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to break down 5 ways that you can make yourself more attractive to other people and just feel better about yourself. A lot of people can actually make a lot of mistakes in their day-to-day lives and they may not even realize it, that is actually putting other people off them. And I'm going to address some of those things today whilst I'm giving you the tips. So stay tuned. Now, my first piece of advice for you is to be kind. And this may sound simple, but being kind actually causes something called the halo effect to happen. And I'm going to go into a bit more detail about what this is because this is going to underpin pretty much the rest of the video and it's going to help you to make sense of why the other tips work so well. Now, the halo effect is basically when your entire perception of another person changes just based on 1 or 2 or a very few things that you may know about this person. So for example, if you find somebody physically attractive, you're automatically, just based off this one trait, going to start assuming a bunch of other things about them. Now, oftentimes when we find somebody attractive, we tend to look at them through rose-tinted glasses. We tend to attribute to them better qualities than we would to somebody that we don't find as attractive. So in general, people are considered to be more attractive, considered to have better qualities attached. And this can involve things like you may look at somebody who you find attractive and think, ooh, they probably have a high paying job, they probably make a lot of money, they probably are very confident, you probably assume that they're happier as well as a person. So you're going to attribute all of these qualities to this person just based off one trait. And this is essentially what the halo effect is. And we tend to do this a lot more with celebrities where we don't really know them as people, but we've seen them on TV or we know very few details about them, or because we think they're attractive or because we know that they have money, we tend to associate a whole bunch of other traits to them that we may think makes them better as an individual. Better or worse, depending on what you think. But generally speaking, we tend to think that they're better than the average person. So how can you make this work in your favor? Well, if you meet someone and you're kind to them and you're polite to them, and that's the last memory that you leave them with, then they're automatically going to be more attracted to you and associate more positive traits and aspects and a more positive impression of you. Now, you may have experienced this in particular in the dating world where maybe you've been on a date with somebody and maybe you found them initially very attractive and then they've done certain things as time has gone on. Maybe they were a bit stingy, or maybe they weren't giving you enough eye contact, or they were like kind of surveying the room, they looked a bit bored, or maybe they used their phone a lot. And what you've done is then you've associated these certain traits and you've built an overall impression of this person and you've decided, you know what, this person is not really for me. Whereas you can meet somebody that you initially don't find as attractive, but then as you sit down and you get to talk to them, and you may think that, oh wow, they're really kind. Maybe they've pulled out a chair for you, maybe they've offered to pay, maybe they walked you home. But all of these things is going to help you build an impression of this person in a more positive light. So at the end of the day, you may think, you know what, in the beginning, this person didn't really look that attractive to me, but now when I kind of look at them overall, this kind of behavior has made them more attractive to me. Then the physical side of things is just one aspect, and everything else builds a better impression about you. So this is how you can actually use this effect in your favor. This halo effect is by being kind, being polite, obviously to a point where you're not letting somebody take advantage of you. You have to have strong boundaries, but you can do that in a polite and nice way. And when you do this, then overall a person is going to build a much happier and a much nicer impression of you, and you're going to end up being so much more attractive to them. If you made it this far in the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Mind Council channel, where I'm going to be giving you a lot more videos like this and videos on how you can lead a more healthier and happier life. Now that leads me on to my second piece of advice for making yourself more attractive. Don't cross your arms. It makes you look super guarded and standoffish. People don't realize that body language is so incredibly important in a way that we communicate to other people. It's not just what we say, it's how we present ourselves in our body language. So as you can see, I'm trying to be more descriptive by using my hands, and I'm doing this for a reason. Well, it's the same thing when people have their arms crossed and you meet them, or you have your arms crossed and you meet somebody else. You're going to come across as very standoffish, and you're going to put the other person on the defensive because you look defensive and guarded. Like I said before about the halo effect, you want to put a good impression of yourself forward, especially if you're meeting somebody for the first time, because these tiny little things are going to work together to build an overall impression about you in somebody's mind. So if one of the first things or one of the things that you do whilst you're talking to somebody or interacting with somebody is you cross your arms, automatically that person is going to have an association with that in a negative way in their mind. Overall, we can make ourselves be less attractive to somebody because of tiny, what we consider insignificant gestures like these. And it all kind of relates back to the halo effect that I was talking about before. So instead of crossing your arms and being very closed off, what I want you to do instead is have more open body language. And what do I mean by open body language? Well, what I mean is relax your shoulders, put your arms down by your sides, not in your pockets, not fidgeting, by your sides. The minute that you kind of pick up that you've maybe even unconsciously, because we usually do it unconsciously, folded your arms, at that moment I want you to take your arms down and put them by your sides. Relax yourself, look at the person who's talking to you, nod when they speak so it looks like you are affirming what they're talking about, even if you don't necessarily agree with it. It just basically means that you're taking in what they're saying and you're processing it. And one very important tip, which not a lot of people know about, is when somebody's talking to you, try and face your chest towards them. And the reason that I say this is, in scientific studies, it's been found that when somebody faces their chest towards somebody, it shows that they are interested in them. So if you are ever in a room and you want to know if somebody likes you or not, then look at that person's chest. And men tend to do this more than women, but they will face their chest towards what they're actually interested in, or the person that they're actually interested in, and even if they're talking to somebody else. So this is a really kind of subtle way of knowing if somebody is interested in you more than they're interested in the person that they're talking to. Now the next one, it seems a bit obvious, but you will be surprised by the amount of people that don't do this, and that is to smile. When you smile, it shows that you are a nice and pleasant person, and it will make people want to be around you more. It also makes you appear more approachable, it makes you look friendlier, and like I said before about the halo effect, when you match this with open body language, it's going to make you appear so much more attractive to somebody, and they are actually going to want to come over and talk to you. Think about it yourself. If you're walking down the street and you pass somebody and they just give you a quick smile, aren't you going to have a positive impression about that person in your mind? Whereas if somebody walks past you and they don't really look at you, or they give you a bit of a scowl, your impression is going to be different. Therefore, if you want to stand out in a time where people don't really smile at each other that much anymore, then smiling is definitely something that's going to make you look more attractive to others. When we smile, it makes another person feel more relaxed around us. It makes us look like we are happier, even if we're not necessarily the happiest person in the room. But don't treat smiling as something you should only do when you're happy, or to, you're doing it to make people feel like you are putting a false impression of yourself being happy. No, absolutely not. Smiling is more of a lost common courtesy rather than trying to fake happiness. That's not what it's there for. It's more of a common courtesy to show, look, I'm friendly, I'm approachable, you can chat to me, I can chat to you. And whether you like it or not, it's going to make you look more like you are more of a positive person rather than a negative person. And everybody likes somebody who's positive. People like to be surrounded by people who have positive energy. Nobody really wants to be around somebody who has negative energy or who is constantly gloomy or brings a gloomy energy. They want to be around somebody who's positive, who's smiling, it's infectious. When somebody smiles at us, we tend to smile back. So it's definitely something that you should try and do just more actively. If you feel like you look at somebody, it's something that we sometimes have to kind of force ourselves to do. It's not something that necessarily comes naturally to everyone. So try and make that effort and smile. So the fourth way to make yourself more attractive to others is to look up and look ahead. Now, if you're looking down, looking at your phone, maybe you've got your headphones in, I'm sure a lot of people do this because they want to be left alone by other people. Well, that's exactly what the people are going to do. If you are doing this, they're going to leave you alone. If you're looking at your phone, you've got your headphones in, you're looking down, you're not really making eye contact with anybody, then other people are going to see that you want to be left alone, and they're going to do exactly that. They're going to give you space and they're just going to leave you alone. And it's not somebody that is really attracting people towards them. If anything, that person is wanting to disappear into the room. Now, that's fine if that's your intention. You don't want to talk to anyone, you don't want anyone to talk to you. However, if you're watching this video, that's kind of what the opposite is. You want to be more attractive to people and you want people to approach you. And if you are unconsciously doing things like looking at your phone or looking at the floor or looking at, out the window maybe you're on the tube and you're looking out the window or a newspaper, or just you're doing something else and you see some, people that you find attractive around you, then maybe put down that tablet, put down that phone, put down that newspaper, look and, just look at people and smile. I'm not saying like stare them down in the eye and smile at them, because that's gonna really freak people out. But what I'm saying is, every now and then, look around, make yourself be more approachable. Even if you are looking out of the window and you sometimes glance towards people in the room or wherever else, it still shows that you're open to the idea of talking to somebody. Even if you're kind of surveying the room when you're standing alone, it just shows that you're open to the idea of talking to somebody, and somebody's going to find it easier to approach you. And this is especially the case at parties. If you're going to a party and your intention is to just be completely left alone, sit on your phone. People will leave you alone. They don't want to disturb your scrolling. However, if you're just nervous, you don't really know anybody, and you want people to approach you, stand there, smile, survey the room, have a look around. If you maybe match eye contact with somebody, eventually people will see that you're more open to being approached. Remember your body language, and they're more likely to come and approach you and have a chat, and they're more likely to see that you are a friendlier person. And remember, everything kind of ties back to this halo effect. And you have to remember that when you are behaving in a way that's more shut down and you don't really want to interact with others, even if you're doing it unconsciously, another person is not going to risk rejection by coming over to you. If you look like you're more approachable and friendly and open with open body language, another person is not going to feel as nervous about approaching you, because they're going to feel like you're less likely to reject them. So you kind of want to have this attitude, especially when you're in a social situation where you want to be approached. And finally, my final tip for this video: if you want to be more attractive to others, wear bright clothes. And by bright, I don't necessarily mean neon bright. If that's what you want, then that's fine. But what I mean is something like, for a woman in particular, if you wear the color red, that's going to make you more attractive and it's going to make you stand out more. Studies have shown that red is considered to be the color for winners. Now, scientists did a study where they looked at sports teams, and they found that when sports teams were mixed up and they gave one the color red to wear and the other the color maybe blue to wear, then it was more likely, no matter how many times they tried the combination with different people in the teams, that the people who were wearing the red jerseys were more likely to win than the blue jerseys. And as a woman, this is great because red is also considered to be the color of passion and fire and seduction. So it's actually a great color to wear if you want to look more attractive. Even if it's just something like red lipstick. You don't have to go full on outfit in red. You can have bits and pieces here and there to accentuate your outfit. Now, in addition to this, bright colors are associated with happiness, with a light mood, and they are also more eye-catching. Now, if you are in a party or somewhere and everyone else is wearing dark colors and you are one of the only people wearing light colors, you're gonna stand out in that room. And if you're confident, you got open body language, you're smiling, you're gonna be a celebrity in there. So combining all of these tips is really going to make you attractive to other people. It's going to give you this air of mystery, and everyone's going to be like, who is this amazing person? Let me go over and talk to them. Probably even notice that when you paint a room with brighter colors, you tend to feel happier than if you paint a room with darker colors. Bright colors tend to lighten the mood, they tend to make us feel happier, and you want to leave that kind of impression on somebody if they meet you or they see you. You want them to remember you in a positive light. Remember, I keep bringing up this halo effect. And like I said before, it doesn't have to be bright colors, completely one block outfit of just bright colors, because sometimes that can look quite garish unless that's something that you're totally into, in which case fine. However, if you want to maybe accentuate certain items that you're wearing with bright colors and use some neutral tones elsewhere, even this is more than enough. So like I said before, red lipstick, red nail polish, maybe even a red dress or a red skirt of red. So you decide. But it's all about leaving a positive impression on somebody. So that's my tips for today. And remember, if you like this video, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.